Hi, my name's Jacqueline, and I'm the community educator at Hope Harbor. Today, we're here to do a program called Telling is Smart, where we talk about personal body safety and what to do if you're ever in an uncomfortable situation where you do not feel safe. So, to get started, we're going to talk about good touches. So, what is a good touch? Well, it's going to be a touch that you may want. It can make you feel happy, it can make you feel safe, or it could even make you feel good about yourself. So, good touches vary from person to person. For example, a good touch for me may be getting my shoulders rubbed. And if my mom were rubbing my shoulders, I would be fine with that because it would make me feel safe, it would make me feel good, and that's something that I would want her to do. Because our bodies belong to us, we get to decide what touches we do and we don't like. But because of that, we also must pay attention to our own feelings. So if my mom was giving me a shoulder massage and that was a good touch, but then maybe I didn't want my shoulders rubbed anymore. It's up to me to decide that because my body belongs to me. So since my body belongs to myself and it's up to me to make those decisions, I have what is called a personal boundary. A personal boundary is going to be like an invisible fence around your body. So for some people, their invisible fence is far away, meaning that they don't want people to get very close to them. And some people's invisible fence is really close to their body, so they don't mind people getting as close. Because it's your fence or your bubble, you get to decide how far away or how close you put it. And there is no right or wrong place to put your fence or how big or how small to make your bubble. It's all your decision. You just have to remember that everyone has their own invisible fence. So we have to kind of be mindful of that, but we also have to let others know what our personal boundary is as well. And once we let them know, then they'll know what we are and are not comfortable with. And we can ask people how close they are okay with us being or certain actions if they're okay with us doing that to them, like giving them a hug or even giving them a high five. So there's a kind of touch that we haven't talked about yet, and that's going to be a bad touch. So a bad touch can make you feel really uncomfortable. It could be a touch that you don't want. It may make you feel confused, and it could be a touch that you don't want from that person, or it could be a touch that you may not want from any person. It can make you feel angry, or make you want to cry, or make you want to run and hide. It can make you feel bad about yourself. So this is like if my mom came up and gave me a hug, that would be a good touch because I love my mom and I'm okay with hugs. But if some stranger in Walmart came up and gave me a hug, I would not be okay with that. For me, that would be a bad touch because I don't want that person hugging me. I would be confused and I don't know that person. It would probably make me feel really, really uncomfortable and maybe a little angry because why would that person be touching me if I don't know them? So you have to pay attention to your own feelings and how you feel. And you must understand that it's okay to say no to a touch. Even if I'm okay with hugs from my mom, that's fine. But let's say that I went to a family reunion and my grandma came running up to me, who hugs me way too tight, and she pinches my cheeks, and I don't really like that. Is it okay to tell my grandma not to pinch my cheeks? Yeah. You could say, hey, Granny, I'd appreciate it if you didn't squeeze my cheek so hard it hurts. But you're still saying no to that touch that happened. So there was one more kind of touch that we haven't talked about yet. And that's going to be if somebody touches the private parts of a kid or asks a kid to touch their private parts. It could also be if somebody tries to look at the private parts of your body or if they try to get you to look at theirs. If they're doing this and it's not a clean and healthy touch, then it's a bad touch. But sometimes adults have to do those things, right? Like if you go to the doctor or if a parent is changing a baby's diaper, sometimes grown-ups have to touch little kids' private parts to keep them healthy or to keep them clean. But if they're doing it in a way that's not to help keep you healthy or to keep you clean, then that's a bad touch. Even if they're just looking at your private parts and they're not doing it in a healthy and clean way, that could be a bad touch as well. Or if they're getting you to look at theirs, that is a bad touch also, even if it's a kid or if it's an adult. So if this happens, there are 3 safety rules that you can try to follow. The first one is saying no. Tell the person that you're not okay with what they're doing and that you'd appreciate it if they stopped. Try to get away from that person. Put yourself as far away from them as you possibly can. And just try to distance yourself. These first 2 rules can sometimes be hard to follow though, because sometimes when we get scared, our voice gets stuck in our throat or our body freezes up. And if that happens, that's okay, it's not your fault. But that's why our 3rd rule is so important, and that's going to be telling somebody. Let somebody know that this happened, and let them know that this person has given you a bad touch. But who exactly can you tell? Well, you could tell your mom or your dad or even a cousin who's a grown-up. You could tell your grandma or your grandpa or an aunt or an uncle, or you could tell your teachers or your guidance counselors. You could tell me. You could also tell your neighbor if you know them and you're comfortable sharing that with them, or if you have a sibling who's a grown-up, you could tell them too. So there are lots of people that you can tell. Just make sure that it's somebody that you trust and make sure that they're a grown-up. And sometimes when these things happen to little kids, or when these things happen to anyone, the person may tell them to keep it a secret. And what do we do about secrets? What do we do if someone gives us a bad touch and they tell us to keep it a secret? Well, you don't. You let somebody know. What if they say things to try to scare you though? What if they say that no one will believe you because you're just a little kid and they're a grown-up? Or what if they say that it's your fault, that you were doing something that made them do this to you? Well, neither of those things are true. People will believe you, and it's never, ever, ever your fault. They're just saying these things to try and keep themselves from getting in trouble because what they've done is bad. So, what if the person that you tell doesn't believe you? Your grown-up, your trusted adult doesn't believe you. Well, you could tell somebody else, because if the first person doesn't believe you, then the next person probably will. And if they don't, then tell somebody else. Keep telling until somebody believes you, because I promise there are people who will believe you. Let's say that nothing, let's say that something happened and you're not sure if it was a good touch or a bad touch. What could you do then? Well, you could tell your trusted adult about that too. And then you all can sort through those feelings and sort through what happened and decide together whether it was a good or bad touch. So if somebody ever touches you in a way that you don't like, or they want you to touch or look at them in a way that you don't like or that makes you uncomfortable, it's never ever your fault, ever. But it is really, really important that you tell somebody that that happened so we can make sure that that person is being held accountable and we can make sure that you get any help that you may need. So what are the 3 safety rules one more time? Well, the first one is say no, let them know that what they're doing is not okay. Try to get away from that person. Try to put distance between you all. Try to get the attention of somebody else. And the third one, and the very most important one, is going to be tell a trusted adult. Let somebody know. So here is our information in case anyone ever needs to contact us. You could also comment if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that. You can always comment those on the bottom of this video, or you can call our office number as well. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.